are stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Hello, Wanderers. I am AJ Rasmussen, and this is Soul Wanderings, a show where we receive an opportunity to hear journey stories from humans from all walks of life and all types of experiences. And these humans show up to share authentic pieces of themselves with all of us. Welcome. We are here live tonight, and you can join us in a few different places. So kgradb.com, click on the chat button. You can hang out in the chat room, hang out with other wanderers, ask questions for our guest. You can also visit us on our Facebook and YouTube page at KGRA. So there's a few places for you to hang out with us. Either place, you can ask questions, and we'll make sure we get to those as time allows us to do so. We're going to get right into our wandering tonight. So without further ado, let's begin. Tonight we're visiting with Pat Alva-Kraker, and she's a business feminine catalyst speaker and coach. She travels the world live and virtually, helping women business owners and entrepreneurs to overcome obstacles, stay heart-centered, scale their business with ease and grace, and affirm their right to financial freedom while creating a life they love. But before she did all of this, she had to heal and overcome some experiences of her own. That's what the show is all about. Let's welcome to the show, Pat Alva-Kraker.
Hey, AJ, it's great to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. I'm really excited. We have a few similarities, so it's going to be really neat. It's going to be really neat to hear your journey story and see what you're all about. So introduction and titles, and we get a little blip of you that I get to share with our audience. But why don't you share with us from yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Mm-hmm. I am here in Fort Worth. So I'm a true Texan, originally born and raised in El Paso, and I've been living in the Fort Worth area for a very long time. I have a corporate career of 35 years in two male-dominated industries, IT and engineering. And it's an interesting journey to be the only female in the room. And that comes it comes in with a lot of culture dominated values from being around men all the time. So I've got some interesting stories to tell you about that. And during that time that I was working for corporate as an international project manager, I did start my coaching business, and that really just kind of fell on me. What I found is when I was working for IBM, what I saw is that there weren't a lot of opportunities for women, and I wasn't seeing women really go up the ranks. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do something about that. So as I began to meet women and they started sharing their ambitions and what they wanted to do, I said, I'll mentor you and I'll help you do whatever I can to get you there. And it just became something, I would say it's a gift that just really I was blessed with. And I just have the gift of listening and empowering women. And I see the big picture very quickly. So I'm a strategist by nature and really can get down to the nitty gritty to really identify what it takes for women to move up in corporate America and in business. So I've been coaching for a long time, initially with women professionals in engineering and IT. And then when I retired, I started coaching women entrepreneurs. And so I expanded my business. And throughout that time, I had my share of challenges, which brought me to a point where I took the many lessons from these experiences, and they evolved into a book. So I'm a cancer thriver of 26 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that in itself was a pivotal point in my life. When I studied the background of breast cancer through Louise Hayes and other types of documentation, because what I've learned is that by the time the disease manifests physically, we really have had some other issues underneath that, spiritually and emotionally. And what I learned about myself is that I was an overgiver. And I gave to my family, I gave to the community, I gave to my job, and I was the last one on the list. And with very little self-care, there came a point where I just had to stop and reevaluate my life and really pivot. Because what I found is that I wasn't making the healthiest decisions for me. Yeah. And I wasn't aligned with my values and really what I envisioned my life to be. And it was a turning point. It was a turning point in my life. And I can remember the day that definitely had, learned, and I was in bed and I learned there in the hospital that I had cancer. And I'm like, wow. I was just like in total shock. And it took us an hour to get to my home. So my husband and I were in the car, and I was just thinking, how am I going to handle this situation? How am I going to handle this situation? What am I going to do? And for that hour, I just started processing in my mind what steps I was going to take and what I was going to do to heal myself, that I was going to take responsibility right here, then and now, and that I was going to be responsible for healing myself. And I did go, AJ, through the traditional route. I did go through chemo and radiation, and I learned alternative medicine.
Yes.
So I became a Reiki master. I learned polarity. I learned a lot about oils and diet. And I just really immersed myself in alternative medicine. And, I practiced everything that I studied. And here I am 26 years later.
Yay.
And, yeah, exactly. I mean, it was an experience that I feel like lessons in our life occur for a reason, and that nothing is really an accident. So I really stepped into this journey and said, what am I supposed to learn from this? What pivots do I need to make, and how am I going to get through this situation so that on the other side, I'm a stronger, wiser woman.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that experience came into your life so that you could stand in your power, like finally learn how to love yourself and take that pause?
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. I would say yes to that. And what happens is, as I began to really understand what was going on in my life and why I was really overgiving and just really devoting myself to family, work, and just didn't realize that in order for me to really give my best, that I had to feed my own cup. I had to fill my own cup first.
Yes.
And that I had to make a pivot and start taking actions that would take care of me from a mind, body, and soul perspective. And some of that included setting boundaries, because I was very much, and anytime somebody asked me for help, I said yes. And all of a sudden, I'm overwhelmed, and I feel like my plate's too full, and I'm like, here I am again. Right. So it was one of learning how to set boundaries based on what I value and learning how to say no.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a woman, we are so conditioned to give, and support and make sure everyone around us is taken care of. And we really do get lost in the process of being a giver and provider for our families.
It's so true. And so much of it is also generational.
Yes.
I saw my mom be that kind of giver. She was an amazing best friend, daughter, wife. And then I saw my grandmother do the same thing. I saw my aunts do the same thing. And I'm like, there's just a pattern of just overgiving and putting ourselves last on the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I relate and empathize in a lot of ways because, different types of cancer, but I had uterine cancer almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years next month.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And you think about everything that you were doing, thinking like, how could I prevented this? What did I do? How could I have changed this outcome? So you really go deep and wonder how you can heal and prevent ever happening again. And in the process, for me, and it sounds like for you too, because you took the journey of the spiritual approach like I did. Mm-hmm. I did do the, the Western medicine and things like that, but it took me to a different path, which in hindsight, you always wish you would have known it sooner, but you always know it in perfect timing.
Yes. But
it's really neat because the Reiki and the herbs and the oils and all those things, which I practice now, are because of that experience and the boundary setting and saying no and only filling up my plate just enough were crucial in my healing, not just of the disease, but of my life in general, finding that balancing act to heal myself. And you brought up that book by Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. It's brought up so many times by my guests. Yeah. And of course, I have the copy laying on my nightstand because anytime I have something come up, I look to see why is my elbow hurting?
Exactly.
It's just such a great book to reference. So,
yes, it's And you think back and you say, what would I have done differently? And, one of the things that I teach in my book is that we have to honor the journey that we're on.
Yes.
That our journey is very sacred and it's very unique to us. And I believe that there are some specific lessons that we are destined to learn, period. And we're going to learn them through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so we don't get to choose what lessons we need to learn, and we don't get to choose how they occur. Exactly. We just get to choose that we learn the lesson when it happens.
Yeah, how we react to the lesson. And what we
exactly. We have to take it in and ask ourselves that question: what am I supposed to learn from this, so that we don't have to repeat a situation that'll, hit us like a 2x4 in the forehead.
Right. Because it will keep repeating until we learn that lesson.
I know. So that's really important. I really want to ensure that women know that they're on a sacred path, and it's really important that they embrace that journey with a very positive attitude, and that life works for us.
Yes.
It doesn't happen to us.
Yes.
It works for us and in our best interest. And with all the study, the spiritual, work that I did, I really began to make that shift on understanding that life happens for us and through us. And if we just allow ourselves to be in flow and be accepting every day of what happens, then, we don't carry that much level. We don't carry that level of stress of, I wish things would have looked like this, and I hope they turn out this way. It's just just acknowledging and accepting that we're on the, we're exactly where we need to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How would you recommend to someone that type of a mindset? Because it is something that is introduced, and then you either adopt it or you don't. But what is something that you do to show an individual that, you don't have to be a victim or whatever that looks like,
Right.
that everything that is laid out in front of you is for your highest good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. That mindset is really just, so when you have the mindset that you and I have, we have a growth mindset. It's what is considered a growth mindset. The opposite would be a fixed mindset. Right? A fixed mindset says, you're the victim. Why did this happen? I'm not going to try anything new. Anytime I try to do something new and I always fail, blah, blah, blah. And so it really begins with awareness. And I tell my clients, you can either live your life from a growth mindset where you accept and you step in and you look forward to life and you learn, or you live a fixed mindset that is totally the opposite. Mm-hmm. And when you have a fixed mindset, you struggle more. Mm. You struggle and you're not as successful and you're not as happy and you don't learn the lessons. So given a choice of having a positive mindset where things will flow will flow in your favor, you stay open and you take in the lessons that you're meant to learn, life is going to be easier if you have this kind of mindset. So which one, you're at choice. So which one do you want to live?
Exactly. Do you want the easier road? Not necessarily always easy, just easier because mm-hmm. of your mindset. Or do you want to continue the struggle?
Yeah, where every day is a struggle, where you're living in a why me. He said you don't have to do that. You can make a different choice every day.
Yeah.
And if you just start doing that, 5 minutes at a time, knowing that you're at choice and taking, a more positive attitude, you're going to start seeing the results of that.
Right. And it's not something that you adopt quickly. Mm-hmm. I know for me and everyone I've worked with personally, it's definitely not something you do overnight. It's a learned behavior, just like anything else. And it takes time. Mm-hmm. And to be very patient with yourself, very loving with yourself, that, when you start to believe something new like you are and start to practice it, that it too will strengthen just like a muscle. It will develop and become stronger as time goes on.
I totally agree with you on that. So it does begin with awareness. And I think, one thing that I ask my clients to do is, make a choice. You're always at choice. Mm-hmm. And I want you to start journaling. Mm. I want you to start journaling, and I want you in your journal. It doesn't have to take long. It can be, 10 minutes. I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. What went right in my day and why? What didn't go right and why? And what will I do differently? Mm. And then in that process, you start observing yourself. You start observing the consequences. You start observing the situations, and you start writing them down. And over time, if you're consistent about asking yourself those questions, you begin to transform. And it's an amazing process. You become your own teacher in the process. And it's very simple. Notebook and a pen. Every day, 10 minutes, ask yourself those 3 questions. And it becomes an amazing process. So I did that when I've been journaling for a very long time. And when I went through my journey with breast cancer, I was very conscious of the things that I was trying and doing and seeing the consequences of my change in behavior, practices that I learned from studying spiritual teachers. And I just began to note all the things that I tried and how they worked and how I felt. And I started accumulating a set of practices that were very powerful for me and really allowed me to really step into my power, make different decisions, and really feel a sense of peace in my life. And so I started sharing those practices with my clients. And I said, these are the things that have worked for me. I want you to be willing to experiment. Let's start with the practice of journaling, and let's see the results that you get from that. And so I started to see that several of the practices, started working with my clients. And I said, you know what? There's a bigger platform here. I can make a bigger impact than just keeping those practices to myself. And with my clients, we need to bring these out to the world because I want to impact women. That's my passion. And slowly, these practices started to come into my book, and it developed into the story that it is. So the other part of my journey is that at the time when I was in corporate America, my husband and I, we had an exotic animal ranch. So we had 200 acres, oh, wow. And we took care of about 450 animals at any given time. And it was a life-changing experience. And I'll never forget it because not a lot of people don't ever get a chance to really connect with nature and take care of so many animals like this and be a difference in their lives and just really shelter them and just see them, blossom. And so when my husband passed away, I had the ranch, and there was only one guy that was helping us take care of all the animals. And at the time, AJ, he was in a wheelchair.
No, wow.
So I have a 200-acre ranch, taking care of all these animals, working a full-time job, part-time practice in coaching, and my ranch hand was in a wheelchair. So everything would work fine until it rained or snowed or iced. And then he couldn't get his wheelchair throughout the ranch. It would get stuck in the ruts and the mud and the ice. And so I would have to take a day of vacation to feed the animals. And so in the winter, it was hard. It was hard getting through the winter, knowing that that there was always a risk that I would wake up one day and the weather would change and I'd have to take a vacation day to feed the animals. And in that process, I really learned a lot because in order for me to really take good care of them, I had to connect with them. I had to be able to see in their eyes and know that they felt good or that they didn't feel good. I had to look at their feet. I had to look at the way they eat. I had to look at their skin. I had to really study them to know if they needed any care. So in the process, I really connected with all the animals, and they began to teach me along the way. So we raised paint donkeys, and we had 150 donkeys.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a lot of donkeys.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. And it's just a beautiful animal. And when I would walk out in the fields, just to, like I said, to check their feet, make sure they felt good, and see if they had any babies, they would immediately just come and encircle me. And it was such a wonderful feeling to have that level of love and support from animals. Like they knew that I needed this. Like they knew I was the one that had to be taken care of at that point in time. And they taught me, the sense of community, because donkeys are very community centric. And they take care of their own, and they walk in packs, and they take care of, they're just so mindful of each other. And, it really came to light how important it is to have that level of support.
Mm-hmm. And they're so unconditional animals.
Absolutely. So unconditional.
That type of love with, no judgment or anything like that. It's just an overwhelming amount. It's just so amazing.
Mm-hmm. It is amazing. And so many times as women, we are afraid to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
That was one lesson that I learned, is that I had to reach out to people to help me, because the situation required that I ask for help and bring in people to help me, because it was overwhelming to try to do it on my own.
Tell me about your experience for asking for help, because you're right. We don't ask for help as women. It's one of the hardest things. I don't know why.
It's one of the hardest things.
So bad, because when we learn that we're not actually only, how do I word this? When we ask for help, we learn so much, not just about ourselves, right? we also give the gift to someone else to allow them to help us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're not asking for help, we're being denied blessings for ourselves and for those who want to serve.
That is true. There comes a point where you just can't do you can't do it all you can't do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's in your career, whether it's in your business, or whether it's in raising a family, we aren't wired, and God didn't make us to do everything on our own.
Mm-hmm.
He made us to be able to ask for help and for us to serve others. So yes, I had to learn how to ask people to help me with the animals, and ask people when the fences were broken. At the time, Randy just in a wheelchair couldn't fix the fences, and so I had to ask for help to fix the fences, and just realize that there's a point where there are certain things that I can do, and there are certain things that I'm going to have to delegate. Mm-hmm. And to be able to have that sense of discernment of what does it take to make all of this work, and how much is it really that I can do and do well, and who do I need to reach out to that can do the things that need to get done that can do them better than I can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because even in the business, we can't do it all. We have to learn how to delegate and bring in a team, a virtual assistant or whatever it may be to help us take care of the load and really move forward in a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was my downfall personally, is not asking for help. My business started to struggle when I thought I had to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called The E-Myth.
Yes, I love that.
Have you heard of it? That book helped me a lot. All the different hats. Like, why am I trying to wear all the hats? It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And you really, like you said, you get to a point where you really can't, you plateau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You plateau in your business, and you can't get it to grow because an entrepreneur may have the belief that they're the only ones that can do it as good as anybody else. Right. Yeah. Well, I can do it fast. If I just do it myself, I can do it faster. If I just do it myself, I know it's going to be done right. Mm-hmm. And so we have this mindset that of feeling that we will not be successful if we don't do it all, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, we're actually setting ourselves up for failure, not success.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's with anything. You were specifically talking about entrepreneurs and women, but this can go across the board for men and just even people who have a full plate in their personal lives. It doesn't have to look or be a certain way.
Exactly. We get to make the rules. We forget that we can make the rules.
Yeah, that's really neat. That all the control is within us. We are able to make those decisions and make it work out for us. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of this, I want to get to know more about what you're doing with this coaching opportunities. And of course, you brought up Reiki and spirituality. That's right up my alley. And of course, we need to hear all about your book. So everyone stay close, and we'll be right back.
Intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Are you still at it?
Yeah, I need more speed.
This baby's fast.
My dad's fast. He's scary fast.
You really think you could beat him?
Yeah, because I drink more tea than he does.
Yeah, right.
You know, pal, it's the tea that makes you go. Oh. Hey, Dad.
You know, kiddo, you have to drink a lot more tea to be faster than me.
Drink the tea that makes you go. Life Change Tea. You may not need as much as Dad. You never know. GetTheTea.com. Log on to GetTheTea.com.
Welcome to the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. Here you'll find great new content, including the KGRA Classics, great shows from our archives. You'll be able to see the show times and information so you can see what show is currently on air. The on-air live button. So just go to this section and you'll be able to hear the show live with exceptional sound quality. We also have the Vault section. Make sure to subscribe to get access to great content and special features. We have the make content for our latest news and events, so make sure to sign up and you can be part of our forum. So make sure to check out the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. We look forward to seeing you there, and we hope that you enjoy the new website.
Mainstream media's most wanted. KGRAradio.com.
Hello, welcome back to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ Rasmussen, and tonight we are visiting with Pat Alva-Kraker. She is the author of Catherine's Quest, One Woman's Journey to Relation, and we're going to get to that here later in the show, which I'm looking forward to. Did I take you by surprise, Pat, with that little break?
Yes.
We're back in the groove now. All is well in the world.
That's good.
So you were talking about having your ranch and being around all of these animals and being grounded in nature and the experiences and lessons you were learning by doing so. Then the need to ask for help. Do you still have your ranch?
You know what? I sold my ranch last year. And so that was a completion of a chapter in my life, and I miss it terribly. I miss the animals terribly. I can't really explain that void of just being around them and how much they taught me. It was really an amazing and unforgettable experience. And yes, I did sell them. I found a home to all my animals. They're all taken care of, and we have to move on. We have to move on. It was a decision that I had to make to sell it because it was really a big task for just two people to manage a ranch like that, and all the other things that were on my plate. So it was time to move on. And as hard as that was, I think it happened easily and effortlessly, and I know that I'm exactly where I need to be.
Isn't it neat how everything always works out just the way that it's meant to be?
Yes, and that's an affirmation that I actually practice every day, is that everything always works out for me.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you literally say to yourself out loud, or
yes,
the energy of it saying out loud?
No, I say it out loud. Everything always works out for me. And it's just a practice every day. And especially, when something unfolds unexpectedly, I just tell myself everything always works out for me.
Yeah.
And I just let go and let the universe handle it.
Were you a spiritual person before you had your health concerns and issues? Or is that something that came later from those experiences?
I was a spiritual person before. And it was a really interesting time in my career where I was part of a community that was very spiritual, and it was within corporate, which was very unusual. And I just was surrounded by spiritual teachers, and I was just like, I was open and ready to receive. And I just started raising my level of consciousness, raising my level of spirituality. And it became, instrumental in my life in bringing me that sense of peace and acceptance. And so, yes, I have been. And I didn't realize how intuitive I was. I'm intuitive. And when I look back when I was in grade school, high school, I remember days where my friends, they had a falling out with their boyfriend, and they would come to me and they would tell me, this is what happened and blah, 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 blah. And then I would just like, he's going to call you. And then I'm like, how do I know that? And I would just say these little snippets of wisdom, of counseling, of whatever that is. And I would just say it so confidently. And then things would happen exactly as I said they would. Oh, this is a particular situation. I see it working out this way. And I just didn't really question the fact that I had the ability to see forward or have this really strong sense within me. I thought that everyone else had that. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that everybody has a very strong intuition. It's just whether you really cultivate that and practice it. But for me, I sensed that at a very young age that I could see and sense things and would really just, say what I felt. And a lot of the times I was right. And so now I look back and I said, I was connected then. I was connected to source. I had that sense and I trusted it. And it was really interesting, AJ, that I had that strong sense of intuition. And when I started working in corporate, that strong sense of intuition is not something that was really valued. In corporate, they want to see the data. They want you to show the business case. They want to see the numbers. It's all analytical, right? And that's the culture, and that's how they want you to think. That's how they want you to make the decisions. And what I found is that over time, the sense of intuition, I just started to bury it and bury it and bury it and bury it and bury it. And I assimilated, and in the process, I lost myself.
Mm-hmm. We do that.
Mm-hmm.
We do that. I really feel like our abilities, that claircognizant, that knowing, we all have that ability.
Yeah.
And you brought up trust and how important it is to trust that ability, which also strengthens that ability. And society has a way of conditioning us out of our gifts. Society, family, whoever that looks like. But it's a remembering and coming back to, which you obviously have done.
I have. As I began to connect more with myself after my journey through cancer, I really became really connected and connected to source and really sat in meditation a lot. I slowly began to understand that in order for me to really be successful, to make an impact, I really had to integrate both the analytical and the intuitive and live my life from this place, which was richer, more fun, really more intuitive and trusting than to just really live out of one side. Mm-hmm. And now that I think back of the women that were with me in corporate, I could just see them just assimilating and just really denying that sense of intuition in the way that they ran their departments, their teams. And so that's why it became very important for me to really help women who were in the fields of engineering and IT because of the way that we were brought into the company culture. Mm-hmm. And we really kind of lost ourselves in the process. And we have a strong sense of intuition and we rely on it, especially, you don't necessarily have to come out and say, well, my intuition says that we should do this for this customer. It's having a sense of intuition that says, you know what, this is the way that my intuition tells me that this is the way that I need to present the idea.
Yeah.
This is a way that I need to communicate so that it can be accepted.
That makes sense, because if we I just noticed I was in the corporate world for 20 years before I opened my spiritual center, and it's using particular words really triggered other people.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever use the word intuition, or I just feel it, anything to do with an emotion, I really got myself into some trouble. People didn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I see that it's changing, but it's not changing fast enough.
It is very slow, isn't it?
It's very slow to change. That sense of intuition and just really having a sense of trust and more compassion. It's coming through, and it's a big ship that slowly has to make that turn. But I feel that it's necessary in order for us to really be successful. Times are different.
They are different. And they're definitely shifting. But what do you think the catalyst will be for that shift to occur? Why is it so slow moving? And why is it taking so long for women to be recognized in the workplace? That's a whole other topic. But for us to have the abilities and use them in our work, even in the corporate world.
We need more women at the top.
Well, okay, so I get that you're all a feminine catalyst, and I am right there with you, girl. But I have a lot of male listeners, and for the sake of them, I'm going to side with them for just a moment. Okay,
that's good. We can have a discussion on that. No, I agree that men are changing also, because you can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results. And what is being asked of us is to really have a sense of compassion when we deal with ourselves, with our teams, with our clients, and to really step into our own truth.
That is the ticket right there. Our own truth. So men and women alike. Men, I want you to listen, okay? Don't check out because we're talking about women so much. But it is stepping into your own truth. Who are you? What I feel like checking into your soul on a lot of ways.
Yes.
Or the spirit of who you are, the essence of who you are. What does that look like and how does that feel? That could be for anybody.
That is true.
Okay, so let's talk more about that. Feminine catalyst. Why did you decide to focus so much on women? Is that because of your corporate experiences and you just wanted women to be at the forefront more often than they were? Not just the secretary doing all the work behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. There's women have their own special gifts, just like men have to have their own special gifts. And a corporation that has a nice balance of men and women in all the different levels are going to be more successful. And I just saw women bypassed a lot. And in my time way back in the 80s, it was mostly male dominated. So I just really felt that those women who were hungry and were willing to do the work needed support. And I was willing to support them in any way and help them put a plan together to help them move up. It's getting better, but it's not where it can be. And you and I know that we're not even paid the same rate, the wage for doing the same work.
You're right. And in the state of Utah where I live, it's really bad. It's one of the lowest percentages between men and women.
So I was like, what can I do to open the doors? What can I do to open the doors for women? And that has been my passion. And I do everything I can to support women in corporate and as an entrepreneur. So
I love that, and I appreciate it, and I believe that there needs to be thousands more of us doing the same thing. I love when women get together and empower each other, whatever that looks like, just as long as it is on a positive level, playing field where we're all connecting and supporting one another. I think it can be and is such a beautiful experience for anyone that is involved in that type of an atmosphere. It really is empowering, it's fulfilling, it's inspirational and motivational, all of those really good, yummy things.
Yes, that is true. And I believe that we can have anything we want as long as we don't hurt others in the process.
Right.
That is really, really key.
Yeah, of course. Right. And plus, if you're living a life of like that you teach, that you live yourself, there is no place to hurt anyone else anyway. That wouldn't even be a thought.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Especially when you're living your purpose.
Yes. Especially when you're living your purpose. And that's really important, is to really ask yourself, are you living your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you feel that what your current contribution, whatever it is totally aligned with what you're doing? And sometimes we make decisions and go down a specific path because our parents wanted us to, or because the church or society, the community, the culture, and we didn't really step into, or maybe aren't even in a place where we're giving from our passion. And that's really important. And those are the kind of conversations that I have with clients. Is I ask them, I said, are you still passionate about your business? Are you still very connected with the why of your business, or has something changed?
And that is important. The why. Why are you doing what you're doing every day? And is your passion for what you're doing still there? Is it still alive? Is it still growing?
Because it's easier when you're aligned and you're in your passion and you're very clear with your why. You're willing to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have more fun and you enjoy it. And energetically, people can tell that you have a passion for what you're doing, or you don't. People can read that.
Yes, it does show. Absolutely does. Okay, so my head's going in all these different directions. I have so many questions. We're talking business, and it's great, and I love talking business, and I love talking about all of the things that we're talking about. Let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, let's have you share with us a little more about your Reiki practice, or your ability to do Reiki, and Catherine's quest.
Yes, okay.
Right. Everyone stay close. On the flip side of this, we'll get to know more about Pat. We'll be right back.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Are you still at it?
Yeah, I need more speed.
This baby's fast.
My dad's fast. He's scary fast.
You really think you could beat him?
Yeah, because I drink more tea than he does.
Yeah, right.
You know, pal, it's the tea that makes you go. Oh. Hey, Dad. You know, kiddo, you have to drink a lot more tea to be faster than me.
Drink the tea that makes you go. Life Change Tea. You may not need as much as Dad. You never know. GetTheTea.com. Log on to GetTheTea.com.
Welcome to the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. Here you'll find great new content, including the KGRA Classics, great shows from our archives. You'll be able to see the show times and information so you can see what show is currently on air. The on-air live button. So just go to this section and you'll be able to hear the show live with exceptional sound quality. We also have the Vault section. Make sure to subscribe to get access to great content and special features. We have the make content for our latest news and events, so make sure to sign up and you can be part of our forum. So make sure to check out the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, the KGRADB.com. We look forward to seeing you there, and we hope that you enjoy the new website.
Mainstream media's most wanted. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to Soul Wanderings on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Hudson Valley, New York. And I invite you all to visit KGRADB.com. It's a new and beautiful site. It's filled with many opportunities for you to explore and to learn exclusive content and the KGRA classics. So I encourage you to go and visit and see for yourself. Visit KGRADB.com. We're hanging out. We're hanging out with our guest tonight, Pat Alva-Kraker. She's the author of Catherine's Quest, Women's Intuition, and we've been talking about business and stepping into your power, your purpose, your passion, whatever that looks like, tuning into your gifts and your abilities. Mm-hmm. And it all happened from the experiences that you had in life, which I just love. That's what the show is all about. Mm-hmm. We get to go through some trials and tribulations and learn who we are, really learn the depths of our purpose and what our future is going to look like because of them. Mm-hmm. And you're doing just that, Pat.
Yes.
It's really neat.
It has been fun, hasn't it?
It is a journey.
Yes.
It definitely can be fun. Yes. I wouldn't say all of it's been fun, but all of it has been worth it.
Yes, absolutely.
So you decided to write a book called Catherine's Quest. One Woman's Journey to Elation. I should add that. Tell me what your book is about and why did you decide to write a book?
So it is, writing a book has been on my bucket list for a long time, and I just didn't know how it was. I didn't know how it was going to show up. So, as I mentioned, I went through a number of challenges, and through that process, I tried different things, learned different practices, really connected with myself, raised my level of consciousness, my level of spirituality, and then as I worked through my practices and then became very successful, then I asked my clients to go through those practices. I used them in my retreats. And I felt that the time had come for really to get this message out. And the message is about self-leadership, that we have the capacity to overcome any challenge, any adversities when we know how to better lead ourselves. And this book is about self-leadership. And the story is about Catherine. And Catherine loses her job, her marriage, her home. And so she's hopeless. And on her mission to move out of her home, she went up to the attic and she found this huge, beautiful old trunk. And she opens it and she finds a beautiful journal that belonged to her favorite uncle, Iman. And Uncle Iman was on his own journey to elation, and he starts visiting 7 different islands that depict specific values in life, and the people in that live on that island and amplify those values. And so as she starts going through the book, she starts learning how to lead herself. through her circumstances. And throughout the book, there's sections in the book called Pat's Musings. And in that section of the book, I share practices and I ask women deep questions regarding their life, regarding leading themselves, how to live their life through intention, how to live through choice and being empowered. So by the time a woman reads the book, she's been transformed and knows how to better lead herself.
I love that you have little pauses in there.
Mm-hmm.
So someone isn't just reading it for an entertainment purpose. It also is very thought-provoking.
Yes.
Where they themselves can dig deeper also.
Right. They can do the deep work themselves if they choose. And it's easy. The questions that I ask are easy, but they do cause you to pause and think about your life. And along with the book, I created a journal and I also created affirmation cards. And they all relate specifically to the chapters and what they amplify. So it was really a lot of fun.
Cards.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that you could purchase in addition to the book. You could get the cards and the journal.
Right. On my website, majesticcoachinggroup.com, you can get the whole bundle.
Oh, wonderful.
And you can buy the book, the journal, and the affirmation cards as a set. And it's a great gift for women leaders. Valentine's is a great gift to give to someone that you care, that you love. And it really can be transformational. And it's an easy read. It's only 87 pages.
Oh,
so
that is an easy
It's an easy, yeah, it's not a thick book.
In the same day.
Mm-hmm. You can read it the same day. And if you choose to go through the exercise, it'll take you a little longer, and which I recommend is just to really sit with the values and the practices that I'm asking you to try on precise. That's all. Just try them on precise. And to be honest with you, AJ, my book, when I initially put together all the practices that had been really impactful in my life, I came up with 31 practices. So the initial book was 31 soulful practices for women entrepreneurs. And so when I sat with my publisher and he read the manuscript, he said, "You have 3 books here. You have 3 books with your 31 practices. Why don't you give me your favorite practices? And let's just start with those. Mm-hmm. And I invite you to write a story around those. And then we'll make that the first book." And I said, okay. And so it's really been a journey, because how I initially started the book and where it is today, it went up and down and took a left and a right, and it had its own journey. And if there's one lesson that I've learned about writing a book, is that every book has its own rhythm. Mm-hmm. It has its own energy, and it also knows when it wants to be brought out to the world. And I was in a hurry to get my book out, and I can tell you, there were days where I just wanted to hang it up and say, I'm done. This is just too hard. I don't want to do it anymore. And then, my higher self would come back and say, "No, you're writing that book." So what I ended up learning from this process is that I just had to step back and allow the book to unfold the way it was supposed to, and to stop pushing the string. Mm-hmm. Stop pushing the string and just allow the book to open up and have its own life, and have it be born when it wants to be born. And once I let that go, then the process became fun. Yeah. It was less stressful. I got more inputs and downloads to what the book should look like. Mm-hmm. So it was really life-changing. And I truly believe that when you write a book, it's all about self-development. It's about your personal journey and your personal growth.
Mm. Yeah, and such a healing tool for you too. It's like journaling. right?
Yes.
You get it all out there.
Yeah.
I've been asked to write a book about my life many times. It's not something that's on my agenda. Maybe one day it will come to pass, but I listen to you, how your energy changes and how excited you get when you talk about it. It's childlike in a lot of ways. You're giddy when you talk about it, and I love that. I want to feel that way.
Mm-hmm. That's
really neat. So if you had so many, do you feel like you had 31? You said if you have so many, do you feel like you're going to be writing more? Will you be putting out more books in the future?
Yes, I will be putting up more books in the future. I am this year. I'm a contributor to two books, and one is called "Gift of the Universe Through Women Who Lead," and it's all women contributing. They're all women. They're all leaders, and everybody gets to contribute a chapter in the book. And so I'm almost at the end of my chapter, and it is soulful practices. It is taking some of the really amazing practices that really make a difference in how to lead yourself, so that you can lead your team, you can lead your business, you can lead your community, and you're a stronger person because of it. So I have taken a snippet of my book and actually put it in that particular Women Who Lead book. And then there's one on networking, and it's leaders in the networking industry and how we've been successful in that industry. So I'm excited about it. These are opportunities that I just said yes to. And there's a science about the way that books need to come out. One of the things that I've learned is that women like to read books from women that are going to write more than just one book, that they have at least 3 books in their path so that they can invest themselves in the book and in the woman that writes them and in the author. So I will have 3 books by probably September total. Wow. And so I'm very excited about that. I never expected that it was going to unfold like that. And I'm very excited that it is. Mm-hmm. That it is. So
it's neat. It really is. It's such a courageous thing to put your work out into the world. Mm-hmm. You know, doing anything that puts you out in front of others, I feel takes courage and a knowing of yourself that what you share and what you feel and what you speak is the truth, your truth. Mm-hmm. And you're doing that.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
I do have a question from the chat room. Are you ready?
Yes.
As a past top corporate official, I'm sure you met many boardroom monsters. Can one really excel in that world with a peaceful path, or does one need to always be at war or tap out to the ranch?
You know, I believe that you always take the higher road. You always take the high road, because I was surrounded with men who had tempers. They were rude. They cussed. They were demeaning. And you know what? You have to stand in your truth and do and say what is true for you. Mm-hmm. And after a while, you start building that shield. You know, and you can say whatever you want, but I know who I am, and I'm going to stand in my truth. And whatever you say is not going to, really affect me. Mm-hmm. And so you thicken your skin. I thickened my skin in that process of being surrounded by men and seeing the behavior and etc. And so you develop a thick skin, and after a while you just become very confident that, hey, this is who I am. I know the gift that I bring to this organization, and you can say what you want. I said, but I know who I am and what I can contribute.
How is that any different from a quote-unquote boardroom monster, how he put it? Because men at the top are confident and they do know what they want. Mm-hmm. How is that any different from what you're explaining for you, for what you've done and what you teach?
Well, when you're, it's very easy to be intimidated when you're around a lot of men and you're the only female.
Yes. Yes.
It can be very, very intimidated. And so a lot of women, they shrink. Instead of saying, I am woman, hear me roar. You don't have to say that, but it's like, I'm stepping into my power. Hey, you and I, we both wear our pants. We put on our pants the same way. Why don't we have a philosophy of just, playing win-win and being the example? Mm-hmm. And the thing is that you're always at choice. So when you're around a monster, you can determine whether if that's the way you want your career to unfold, is to be around people like that. Mm-hmm. We forget that we're at choice and that we don't have to put up with behavior from monsters. We don't have to put up with it.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't. And a lot of times I feel like we lose our way in the process because we're so determined on the end goal or the end position or whatever that looks like that we feel we need to do anything and everything to get there, when that's not the case at all.
Yes, that's right. It's not the case at all. When you are true to yourself, you will get to where you want to be in a way that aligns with you.
Mm-hmm. What about so I've worked with a lot of men on both sides. So I've worked with some we'll go with the really amazing side, because we all know what the other side looks like, and it's not worth our time talking about.
Yep.
The really amazing side is when men in the corporate world really embrace women in their arena, what they can contribute, what they can bring to the table. And they have like this union of sorts between the two of them, and can conquer literally their project together. And it's such an amazing dance that the two of them can do. Do you teach women not to just, be all women and be powerful and step in your power, but do you encourage them to make those kind of connections and relationships with men in the workplace?
It's required. You have to do that. Stepping into your power, for me, stepping into your power says, you know who you are, you know what your gifts are, and you're going to go into your situation with confidence and leading through your heart. For me, that's an empowered woman. And she knows that she's always at choice. That's an empowered woman. So my philosophy is you win more with sugar than with vinegar.
Yes.
You win more with sugar than with vinegar. If you're going to have a meeting and, set the intention of what you want the situation to look like. Go in with a win-win attitude. Know that you have specific gifts that the company needs, that the team needs, and that you're ready to give those gifts. And, go in with confidence and look for the win-win in the situation, and always take the higher road. Be a person of integrity when you go in and have those conversations. I worked with a lot of men that I love, that supported me, that taught me a lot, that took me, under their wing. I said, and so I'm not saying that all the men are like that men are monsters in general, but as a woman, you have to know who you are.
It's so important.
You have to know who you are, and I always believe in playing win-win and being the first to give and having a positive attitude and living through intention. And when you do that, you attract those people.
Yes.
You will attract
that bright,
the people.
shiny light, and they will come to you.
You attract those people.
You've worked with some major big companies like IBM and Lockheed Martin. You've worked around a bunch of I want, for a lack of a better word, powerful people. So this isn't just something where you didn't have the experience or had very little experience. You were working around some very influential people in that in that industry.
Absolutely. And I enjoyed my career. I was very successful in my career. I learned a lot from men. They teach you a lot. And you become observant. I'm very observant of the men that were most successful and what made them successful. What do I like about the way he leads? What don't I like about the way he leads? And, how do they say things? I'm very observant about who I'm with, how they carry themselves. And because I believe that people that are around us are there to teach us, mirror us, right? Teach us or mirror us within ourselves, and support us. So I always look to see where the different people in my life, what role I see them playing in my life. Mm-hmm. And that includes all the men that I've worked with. So it's very interesting.
I love that you take that perspective and you really take the opportunity to learn from all humans.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is so neat now, though, is you empower other women to step into their power and to lead on a higher plane and path than what they were before. Mm-hmm. Tell me how what you're doing now, your coaching and things like that, how you bring in the spiritual aspect of it, because you do mention that you are heart-centered and you do bring that aspect into your coaching. So how do you mix the spiritual side and the business side into your coaching? How does that work for you?
So I do it in a number of ways. There are certain practices that I believe will lead to a woman's success in her business and in her life. And I encourage women to have empowering morning practices. Mm. And in that process, I say, I embrace mind, body, and soul. And my clients are mind, body, and soul clients. And I said, we're going to put together a morning routine that touches mind, body, and soul. So one of the things that is very important for me, and that I ask my clients to do that, is that of meditating. Mm. Meditating is so critical. When you even if it's just 5 minutes to just be still, you'll be surprised the messages that are given to you. Mm-hmm. It is a very powerful way of getting answers and of really hearing the whispers that are always being told to us throughout the entire day. Universe, God, greater source, whatever that is for you, they are always whispering and giving us direction. It's when we're still that we actually can pay attention and actually hear what the small voice is telling us. Mm-hmm. And so I encourage my women clients to do that. And I encourage them to ask a specific question. And in a question that is on a very positive side of things. For example, one of the questions that I have them ask themselves is, why is it that I am able to get done so much in so little time? Why is it that I'm able to get so much in so little time? Why is it that I'm such a successful entrepreneur? Why is it that I easily attract all my clients with ease and grace? When you ask yourself that question as if it already exists and you're just quiet and you let the answers come, you get the answers of how to make that happen. So the power of questions is important, and I have them bring in those questions into their meditation. So that is one part of it, is meditating is very important. And the other thing is, I believe in living life through intention. And so I teach practices on how to live your life through intentions. That's where manifesting starts, right? So we have the ability to manifest anything we want in our lives. And so I start teaching them a specific practice on how to live through intention. And it begins with being very clear about the outcome that you desire, and putting the emotion of that situation, of that outcome that you want, into the energy. Because what you're doing is you're asking universe, you know what? I want to have an amazing conversation with AJ. I want our podcast to be fun. I want us to impact women. And I want us to really share some nuggets of how to teach people how to better lead themselves. So that was my intention coming into this podcast. And then I talk about the feelings. The feelings are part of that, right? How I want to feel and how I wanted you to feel. And so I teach them that formula so that they can live their lives that way and create an outcome in whatever they do.
It makes complete sense to me, but that's what I do. I love it when other people are doing it too. I know I'm not the only one, obviously, but I love when I have guests that come on the show and they're in the same frequency, the same belief system. It just is validation that I'm on the right path. So thank you. Thank you for showing up and being yourself and sharing your truth in this way. And it's just really neat also to have this conversation, these conversations that we've been having out into the world. Just plant those little seeds everywhere you can go. Yes,
absolutely. So there's this other practice that I want to share with your listeners. You know, it's we can become a better self every day. We can become a better person tomorrow and then the next day and the next day. And the way that we do it is just by observing ourselves. So I have a technique that's called unraveling. And so the unraveling goes like this. Before you go to bed at night, you're on your bed or you're sitting at your desk or wherever that is for you, you play back the day from the time that you woke up until you're ready to go to bed. You play it like a movie. And you observe yourself through the entire day. And as you're doing that, you ask yourself the questions. What went well in this situation? Why did this meeting go so well? What did I do that made that outcome go like I wanted it to? Maybe you had a different conversation and you were surprised at the outcome and you ask yourself, well, that didn't go as I really wanted it to. What did I learn from this situation? What will I do differently when something like this comes back again? And what will I do differently tomorrow? And if you ask yourself those questions as you watch that movie play out, and then you note in your journal, the next day you're a better person. You just continue and you become a better person through just sheer observation and asking yourself very pointed questions.
It is getting more clear and more in depth. It really is. It's those questions we ask ourselves and the observation, like a witness, like you explained, to our behaviors. And, you know, every day just waking up feeling that, or committing, I should say, to being a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday.
And being in gratitude.
Gratitude is huge. You brought that up earlier, and I was going to comment on that. The journaling and being in gratitude are two free tools that you can give yourself in addition to the meditation every single day.
I know.
And they will change your life. Literally change your life.
It will. And it's just 3 things. It can be just 3 quick things. You know, what am I grateful for today? You know, oh man, the sheets that I'm sleeping with, I feel so comfortable. Oh my God, I love this blanket. I just love this blanket. It's a little simple. You know what? I am so grateful for spaghetti. You know, it's just simple things, right?
Whatever it needs to be.
Whatever it is, you know, that you're grateful for. It just raises your level of vibration. And, you know, it changes your mood just like that. If you're ever in a bad mood and you just want to change your mood, just be grateful about 3 things and your mood will change just like that. It's amazing.
There was a point, and I don't mean to keep talking about myself. It's the only thing I can reference to. But, you know, back when I wasn't in this belief system and more of the victim mentality, if you will, I can even find 3 things to be grateful for. Someone had said, just find something to be grateful for. And I was just like, what do I have to be grateful for? Yeah. But for those, that's why I want to bring this up, because some people may be feeling that same way. So this is why I wanted to share while you brought this up. Even if you're thankful for your breath, even if you're thankful that you have a job, even if you don't like your job, because it pays your bills and it provides you food, or even if you're thankful for the neighbor outside who's always up mowing their lawn at 7 a.m. when you want to sleep. Just remind you that you're alive. Just like anything that you can find until you really soak into that energy and the depths of gratitude. It is just baby steps.
It is. It really is. And once you start living from that point, you are really more aware of the beauty around you. It's the simple things. Yeah.
What are 3 things that you're grateful for right now?
You know what? I'm grateful that I have a park across the street, and that anytime I want to go, I can go and walk this beautiful path that's a mile. And I take my dog and I get myself all wrapped up, and I can just hear all these birds just all around me in the blue skies. I'm grateful for that park. I'm grateful that my husband loves to cook, and so he and I cooked an amazing dinner today. And so we just really enjoyed being in the kitchen and talking and listening to music. I'm so grateful that we had that time together cooking. And I'm so grateful that I'm on your show.
Those are wonderful things to be grateful for.
Thank you.
What a beautiful life.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my life. I appreciate it.
You have so much going on, which is really neat. Let's have you share with us if something comes to mind about an experience you've had with a client that has literally changed their life and their future thereof. I'm sure you have plenty of stories to share.
Sure. You know, I had a client who was very successful in corporate. And she worked very hard to get to where she was at. And happily married. And she was at a point where she had to make a decision because they were getting ready to have a family. And she was it was very much ingrained in her that you go to college, you get a degree, you go work for corporate America, you work for them for 30 years, you do your best, get promoted, get married, have 2.5. That philosophy of how she should be living her life was very ingrained in her. And we were having a conversation about that, and she was saying, "God, I'm going to have my kids, and you know, I don't want to put them in daycare, and I'm going to miss so much of their lives." And through our discussion, she finally gave herself permission to live the life she always wanted, which was to be a stay-at-home mom and have a lot of kids. That was really what she wanted. That was her dream. But she was living this other lifestyle that was expected of her, and she had a hard time detaching what was expected of her versus what she really wanted. And then when she finally gave herself permission, she left corporate, and she's a happy stay-at-home mom with 4 kids. And to see that transformation and for her to get very clear about what she wanted and to give herself the permission to have that was amazing to watch it.
Watched her blossom.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
I'll never forget that. It was so transformational just to really see it in her face when she made that decision.
Yeah.
That this is what I want. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to give myself permission to do that. And a lot of it is giving ourselves permission to really live the life we want versus the life that people expect us to.
I was just about to say that. I really feel like so many of us are able to finally live the life that we desire when we allow ourselves the permission to do so. And sometimes we seek it most times we seek it outside of ourselves, and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting, when all along we are the ones that give ourselves permission. Yes. It is us. Yeah. We do that. And it's neat when we have that light bulb click, right? And we're like, hey, I'm going to give myself permission to do the thing.
Oh, what a relief. It just, this load just falls off your shoulders. It's amazing.
It really is.
When you do that.
It really is. And it's not a one-time thing either. I mean, we have to continuously give ourselves permission.
Permission to succeed and permission to fail are two things that I work with women.
Talk to me a little bit about failure. What does that look like in your world and with your clients?
So one of the things, a failure is just one way of how not to do things. So it's a lesson. As entrepreneurs, we're always experimenting, and we're going to experiment and try different offerings, do an offering a certain way, charge a certain price, have it unfold we're always experimenting. And in that, if we accept that that's what we're doing is we're always experimenting, that means that some things are going to work and some things are not. Mm-hmm. And when you're of that mindset that that's really what your business is all about, is to experiment and try things, then you allow yourself to make those mistakes. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I tell my clients is, I want you to go out there and I want you to fail fast. Go fail fast. I want you to try this. I want you to try it, and if it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, well, you learn to listen, and we're going to try something else, and you're going to fail fast. So versus trying to make sure that everything is perfect, because things aren't always perfect. Mm-hmm. We're not going to learn if we don't make mistakes. So it's part of our process. So I encourage them to step and fail fast, and start learning. And learn fast so that you can get smarter and do better and create different offerings, and just getting in sync with your business is that you have to learn how to fail fast. So that's what I teach them. Step out there.
What do you teach them in regards to overcoming failure and moving forward?
Mm-hmm. So it's a decision. Okay, so we unravel the situation, right? If something failed, then I'll say, okay, let's unravel the situation. And whatever the situation, there was part of it that went right. And so you want to make sure you grab that lesson. What part of this situation went right and what part of it didn't, and what will you do differently? Because unless you evaluate and look back at the situation that you felt in your mind, because we are the ones that determine failure, right? I believe that things are neutral until you give them meaning. Things are neutral until you give them meaning. And so it's going to be a learning process. And part of this process, you're going to do some things that are right. And you're going to do some things that you think like, why did I do that? So we evaluate it. I have them look back, and it's going to be a learning experience. And then we say, okay, what are we going to do next? Mm-hmm. How are you going to move forward from here? We're going to sit in that, whatever that space is of, wow, I didn't really expect this to go this way. I'm bummed. Okay. So sit in that for 5 minutes, experience it, let it go, and move on. Don't don't stay in that state. Allow yourself to feel the feelings from it. And then when you're ready, let it go, just let it go and keep moving. So we can't allow those failures to stay within us emotionally. And at the same time, you don't want to deny what you're feeling because of that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes it takes longer than 5 minutes, so don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it takes more. And you know what? It's one of those things like, okay, sit with it, get past it, and if you feel the same way tomorrow, sit with it, and then get past it. So you're right. You have to be able to, in your own way, be able to release it and know when it's really time to let it go, because you don't want to hang on to it.
Yeah.
You don't want to hang on to the past because you don't want to live your future from your past. You want to learn from it, but you don't want to live your future from your past.
Right. I had my first business fail about 10 years ago, and it was devastating. I swore up and down I'd never have another business. I would never get that emotionally attached to anything. I would never invest the way that I did. And I became really angry and bitter and upset. Like, I can't believe that I worked so hard and then I allowed myself to fail. And I was in that space for such a long time. But coming out of it, and this was a long time ago, 10 years ago or so, I remember thinking, after I read this book called Failing Forward, I don't remember the name of the author right in this moment. But I was like, wow, what a great perspective. And I was re-motivated and re-inspired to get back up on the horse and consider ideas again, because I knew my purpose and my passion was to be an entrepreneur on some level. I didn't know what that looked like.
Right.
Just wasn't what it was then, wasn't what it was meant to be. It was a stepping stone to my true passion and calling in life. So now, you look back on those moments and so much gratitude. Like, thank you. I learned so much. I won't do that again.
Exactly, right?
I won't wear all those hats again.
I admire you for picking yourself up from the bootstraps and continuing.
Well, what else do you do, right? I mean, you can't change the past. You just can't. And I beat myself over it enough. At some point, I had to stop doing that. It wasn't working for me.
Yeah. It's true. And it's one of becoming observant, like you became observant how much time they were spending doing that. And so one of the things that everything begins with awareness, right? It begins with awareness. So I will ask my client, okay, so for the next day, for tomorrow, at the top of the hour, I want you to take a moment and pause, and I want you to note what you're thinking about. What are you thinking about? And I want you to do that for the entire day. And then we're going to discuss what you learned about yourself. And in the process, people will learn that either, well, you know what, I spent, most of my day thinking about the past. I wish I could have changed this, or, man, I wish I could have this situation happen again. Or they'll say, I spend myself just worrying about the future. What if this happens? What if that doesn't happen? Or I'm looking forward to that. And when you become aware of where your mindset is, then you're able to make a decision that you're going to live in the present, because that's where all the power is. The present is where all your power is. That's where you get your insight. That's where you respond to life versus react. That's where, the universe is whispering, your next best step. You just have to be fully present and just engaged in whatever one thing you're doing, and just be fully in it. Even if all you're doing is washing the dishes, it's just to be fully in it.
I love that you brought that up, washing the dishes, because what you're sharing now can apply to anyone. It doesn't have to just be someone who is entrepreneurial or in the corporate world. You could apply these techniques in your day-to-day, no matter what that looked like, even if you were a stay-at-home mother.
Yeah.
Or a part-time job, or whatever that looked like. That'd be safe to say?
Yes, absolutely, because they're all about how you lead yourself every day, every moment of the day. How are you going to lead yourself? Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your experience in becoming a Reiki master.
Yeah. So obviously, the cancer was a catalyst for me to learn healing modalities. It was just part of my path to do that. And I ran into a lady that was a polarity therapist. And I learned polarity first before I learned Reiki. And that was also because I wanted to heal myself. So I learned polarity, and I was just checking. I went to the polarity directory, and there was this lady that lived in my neighborhood, in my city. And so I called her and I said, I didn't know you were a polarity therapist. Will you meet me for dinner, lunch? I think we had, it must have been a lunch that we had. And so in our conversation, she goes, oh, by the way, I teach Reiki. I go, you do? And I said, you know what? I've been looking for an instructor. And since you and I are so like-minded in polarity, we have a common background. And she says, I teach you next time we have your class, come by. And I stepped into that, and it was easy. It was easy for me to learn. And I really enjoy energy medicine and facilitating the healing process, because I don't feel that I'm the healer. I feel that I'm facilitating the person to help them heal themselves. And I still use it on myself, on family, on friends. It's just a part of me. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we all have that capacity to heal ourselves. And I believe that all of us have a capacity to heal mankind. So that when you walk into a room, you can go in and say, my role is to facilitate healing in this room, however it shows up.
Powerful. The power of intention, and not even having the attunement with Reiki, you can do so much still the same. Is that something that you practice when you go to an event or a gathering or whatever that looks like? Do you tend to do that with the room full of people?
The power of intention?
Well, that also.
And the healing?
The healing part.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm very conscious, and the facilitating the healing can be as simple as just standing next to somebody. Mm-hmm. It's just standing next to somebody, or just listening to somebody, and just being there as a listener for someone who has something that needs to come out in their heart. It's about going in and knowing that, in this room, I can make a difference. I don't know how. I'll be guided, and I know it'll happen. It only takes one person.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is that you are the giver, but you're always the receiver as well.
Yes.
Kind of a selfish thing, but it does work out.
It does work out. You're right. You heal in the process of facilitating the healing of someone else. Mm-hmm. I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you shared that you are a conduit, that you are merely a tool for Source to run through you.
Yes. And
give that ability, that gift to another person, and that anyone can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many of us feel like, oh, well, she's special, or she just was born with this gift or this ability. And they lose track that they are a spiritual being having this human experience, and
Absolutely.
that they too can be a conduit for that energy, and that they're able to join forces, if you will, and facilitate that healing also.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful.
And I think we're all playing a part right now of that with Corona. The coronavirus.
You being an intuitive and having the ability to feel things on such a deep level like you do you have any insight or any, I want to say opinion, but that's really not what I'm looking for. I'll just go with insight. Do you have any feelings towards what's going on with us as the human race in the world today?
I think you would agree with me, AJ, that we are in a state of transition. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at many different levels, at the Mother Earth level, at the spiritual level, at the high level of consciousness. That we are being asked to raise our level of consciousness to support a new way of living, a new way of being. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the concept of everyone going within, and staying in is a way of saying, go within. Go within, go within, connect with yourself, and really connect and see what's working for you, and just get to know yourself, and really take the time that we have not really made time for in our days prior, to really just sit with who we are and what we value and what we want our lives to look like going forward. Because a lot of people are making all different kinds of changes. They're realizing that they don't want to work, 8 to 5, going with corporation and in a brick and mortar. They're realizing that, you know what? I want to stay home, or I want to start my own business, or this was a time for that I have now a decision to make, right? It's been a self-awareness that has caused people to take a shift.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with all of that wholeheartedly. However, what do you feel about the division that is occurring on that same level?
I believe that, obviously we see the division, and the way that's going to, as we start raising our level of consciousness, that division is going to go away. Mm. We're being asked to raise our level of consciousness, our level of compassion. And we will be, I think we will treat each other differently. It's going to be an amazing world. I think on the other side, it's going to be an amazing world. I'm very hopeful.
Yes, hopeful. Yes, that is the word of the year, I believe. Hopeful.
Yeah.
Even though there's so much division occurring, I really feel like we're passionate on both sides. We both want the same thing. We're just going about it two completely different ways.
Yes.
It's causing a little bit of chaos.
And it's part of the process.
Oh yeah.
It's something that we have to go through, but we will come out of it a more compassionate, a stronger planet with more respect of Mother Earth, and really honor her. And she's also in the process of transitioning too. So
definitely.
Yeah, it's all part of the process.
What about for those who aren't spiritual per se, or religious based, or whatever that looks like? What do you, or how do you feel that's going to take place? Do you feel like, so say we're on third dimension, like a lot of us
yes.
have been.
Mm-hmm.
And we're elevating to the fourth and the fifth right now.
Yeah.
For those who aren't spiritual or believe in anything of this nature, do you feel the change still occurs for them?
Yes, because it's an energetic change. Mm-hmm. It's all energy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, the shift in energy that occurs as you and I grow, as you and I, come into our own and start growing. We're growing spiritually, raising our level of consciousness. That level of energy, it just spreads, right? It's not contained just here. It spreads, and so everyone will be touched by that energy.
Isn't that so neat? I get giddy when I talk about this stuff because I can feel it in every fiber of my being. Mm-hmm. Like, it's electrifying, and it's exciting to know without a doubt that we are becoming more connected, even though it doesn't look that way right now. But at the end of all of this messy stuff, all of the pieces fall perfectly into place.
Yes.
And to trust that and the process of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
I know we kind of got off topic a little bit where we were talking about your intuitive coaching and your book, but knowing another spiritual being is here, practicing spiritual being, I should say, is here. I just have all these questions. I like to know what everyone's thinking and how they're feeling during this time, because it's just such crazy times, such unprecedented times, and we just don't know. Like, we don't know. Everything's spinning so fast. We don't know where we'll land. So it's really neat to talk to someone else about it.
Mm-hmm. It's all good, though.
Oh, it's awesome.
Everything always works out for me.
Everything always works out for me.
Works out for me.
Yeah, I agree. Just really quick, sometimes with the things that you've shared, I'll get emails or comments made, and I have a feeling I'm going to get some. What you teach, what you practice, what you coach isn't for everybody. Not everyone's going to take the time to do all of the things that you do every day. The affirmations, the journaling, the gratitude, all of those things. But if there's one tip or tool that you could recommend, if they do anything that you know without a doubt could better their lives, which one of those tools would it be?
The tool that I would recommend would be the meditation. If that's one tool that, out of all the tools that I've shared, it would just take a moment to just be still 5 minutes out of the day. Yeah. And just be in nature, just go out and take a walk. Enjoy your plants, just be in that level of stillness. And there'll be this sense of peace that you will just really love. And then before you know it, it'll be more than 5 minutes. It'll be 6 minutes. And then you'll really start incorporating that into your life. That's the one practice that I would say, just try it. Just try it for 5 minutes.
And meditation, the way that you explain it, is not what everyone thinks it is, which is really neat, because going on a walk, being just in the moment, those are all forms of meditation. Yes. And thank you for putting my website out there. The chapter 1 of my book is available for free for your listeners. They can just go to my website and go to Catherine's Quest, and they can download chapter 1 for free. Awesome. I was going to ask you, so we're closing this show, where could our listeners find you, and how can they connect with you? Yep, that's it. Go to majesticcoachinggroup.com, and there's a tab that says Catherine Quest. You can buy the book there. You can download the first chapter and just, read it. You're going to fall in love with it, and you're going to want to buy the book. So, treat yourself. Do that for yourself. Yeah. I'm also on Facebook on Majestic Coaching Group, and on LinkedIn under Majestic Coaching Group. Wonderful. And I'll make myself available for anyone who wants to have a conversation, especially around the book. They can actually book a session, a free 30-minute session, and just let's talk about what's coming up for you as you're reading the book. And I'd be more than happy to really have a one-to-one consultation on something that you liked about the book, something that you would like to discuss or maybe need help on. Wonderful. How generous of you. Thank you so much for that and the time you've spent with us this evening. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. Likewise. Your bright and shiny light, and keep sharing it with the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. You have been listening to Soul Wanderings, which can be found on kgradb.com. Let's share with your friends and family, and let's keep having these conversations that bring awareness and connection into our experiences. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us tonight, and good night. Good.